Well, good afternoon. Life in Florida. Well, we're back here today to talk about pros and cons living in Florida, part 2. But in this video, there might be a little more cons than pros, but we're going to give you our opinions on them, and we'll go from there. So the first subject is hurricanes. So Jessica, what do you think, or have you experienced any hurricanes?
So, moving here from Texas, I've heard more about hurricanes, and it's really funny that people in Florida kind of like laugh at the hurricanes because they're just so common
Right.
that they're just so used to it that unless it's a category 5, people still go to work and walk their dog and don't have problems with it. My one story I do have, the restaurant that I worked at, the previous year they had a hurricane that knocked out their freezer and they lost all of their food. So this year they didn't have a food delivery, to the point that the last couple of days leading up, I spent about 5 minutes telling people at the table what we didn't have. And then day of the hurricane, it ended up veering off and hitting South Carolina instead of Florida. So we got nothing. It was really funny.
Wow. Well, I got something similar to that, but a little different. When was that experience? That was in like
Last year.
last year in like July, August?
Yeah, around that time.
Yeah, because about that time, it might have been the same hurricane. I was in Vero Beach, and there were talks about the hurricane was coming. The hurricane was coming. I'm like, yeah, right, hurricane. I don't care. Well, I'm way out in Vero Beach. I'm coming back to this area, to Satellite Beach, and I saw it was really dark and cloudy, and all of a sudden the lightning starts crashing. And that's where I'm going, with the lightning's crashing. Like, oh my God, maybe
should worry about
maybe
it a
the
little
hurricane,
bit, yeah.
maybe the hurricane's coming. So when I got into it, it had turned down to a storm, so it wasn't like a full hurricane, but it was a storm now. But it was coming down like crazy. And branches of trees were flying across the A1A highway.
Yeah.
And everybody was going like 3 miles an hour. And these branches are coming across the highway.
Jeez.
And I'm going, oh my God, this thing's something to deal with here. So I made it back safely.
Yeah.
But it went more to a storm than a hurricane.
Yeah.
So,
That's typically what happens,
Yeah.
too, a lot of the time, is that they're worried about the hurricane for days up until a couple of days before or the day of, and then it goes down to a tropical storm instead of being a hurricane.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
And that's what happened. So it is something to deal with, but I haven't experienced it like a
Firsthand.
full force
Yeah.
hurricane. But that went from a hurricane to a storm.
Yeah.
So there's a hurricane story. Well, our second topic is the cost of living in general. So I'm going to let Jessica tell you her version of that.
Okay. So mine is about apartments and renting. So I've lived in Cocoa and Cocoa Village. And even though there's only like a 5 minutes apart, they're still two separate entities. So when I lived in Cocoa, it's more, I would say, ghetto, run down, and the apartments there were 2 bedrooms for about $850 to $900. Whereas you come to Cocoa Village and it's nice and you see the water, and it's about $1,100 for a 1-bedroom apartment. So it's a huge difference for a not very far apart.
A couple
from each other
miles
at all.
apart.
Yeah, it's a 5-minute drive.
Wow. Well, I had a similar experience with far as rent.
Yes.
Because I had a year lease when I got here, and I was paying $950 a month, which I thought was not bad. But it was a studio apartment, and I was right across from the beach in a nice area. Well, my lease came up,
Yeah.
and I had to renew it, but I didn't want to renew it for a full year as I'm buying this, building this house. So they raised my rent $150 a month.
Yeah.
For the month to month, $150 a month. Now, I thought that was a little high, a little extreme, but what am I going to do? But the thing is, I have 155 units where I live,
Yeah.
so they're all rented. So they know that they can get somebody else in there,
Oh, yeah.
probably charge
Super
more money
quick.
for my place, and I'm out looking for something else, so I paid the extra 150.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit bad, but I think a lot of people are moving here, and that's why things are going up. Gas prices have gone up, rent's gone up, things have gone up
Everything's going up.
because everybody's moving to Florida and moving to Texas. So the high cost of living is getting a little bit high here.
Yeah.
When I first got here, it wasn't so bad. Gas prices were like $2.20 when I got here. Now they're like $3.20 to $3.30.
Yeah, they're around that
So
price.
so they've gone up. So that's kind of the cost of living situation. All right, our last topic is the critters. So what do you want to say about the critters in Florida?
So there's a lot of different critters. Specifically, there are the love bugs, and they are horrible. But they only come around about once a year. It's usually between August and December. But they are so terrible. that you'll have a spick and span car, and by the end of the day, your entire front bumper is covered in these bugs. And you will like walk out of a store and walk right into them in your face. That's one. The other ones are the roaches. So there's two different kinds that I know of. There's the palmettos, which are mostly just water bugs. They're not actual cockroaches, but you look at them and you think roach, and they're disgusting. But there's nothing you can do to not get them here in Florida. You will be the cleanest person on the face of the planet, and they will still get into your house. It makes me feel like I'm dirty, but I know that I'm not.
Right.
And then there's the German roaches, which are the small itty bitty ones. They're not as common, but they're still pretty common in Florida, and you're gonna find them everywhere, and it's just a nuisance.
Well, she's right about that. I don't have much to add to that.
Yeah.
But what do you call those big ones like roaches?
The palmettos.
The palmettos.
Yes.
I had a guy about this big that would be running around my apartment. He's still running around somewhere, but I've been seeing those a little bit.
Yeah, usually if I can't kill them, I can't sleep at night. So.
Wow. They're pretty quick too.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're pretty
very
quick. So, well, there you go. So we have covered the hurricanes, cost of living, and the critters.
Yep.
So that's our scoop on the pros and cons of those three things here in Florida. So hope you've enjoyed this short video. Meanwhile, be happy, be healthy, take care of yourself, and we'll see you soon.